Right now at noon, with the SEK Humane Society at risk of closing, stray animals could roam free in Pittsburgh. Hear the shelter's urgent plea.
And we've got cloudy skies out there, mostly cloudy skies. Storms still on the way. We'll have a look at that coming up.
Plus, new information on mortgage rates and how it could impact the local housing market.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. After half a century of rescuing lost animals, a 4-state animal shelter says it's currently in a financial crisis, and if not resolved, the door will close for good by the end of the year. The SEK Humane Society in Pittsburgh says it needs an average income of $30,000 a month to continue to stay afloat. Now, that's the number Director Jasmine Kyle presented to Pittsburgh City Commissioners at last night's meeting. As KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports, if the door closes, it affects the entire community.
I love spending time with the animals. They all look so happy. Yes. None of them seem miserable. They all look happy.
What we're hearing and what we get threats of, in all honesty, and I'll be transparent about this, is, well, if you're not going to take my dog, I'm just going to let it loose.
Jasmine Kyle is the director of Southeast Kansas Humane Society. She's currently working with Pitt State students to help keep these lost animals in order. As she says, any abandoned pet could pose a serious threat to the community.
Say that it's sick, it has ringworm and such, and it's been raised with kids. There's a school a few blocks away, and here the kids is going to go for the kids because they know that sound, right? That's our concern.
Kyle says 97% of stray animals in Crawford County are from Pittsburgh. She says there's very little funding for the animal shelters, and it's even worse for small towns.
And they'll look at populace of Pittsburgh compared to Chicago or New York, New York. Who do you think gets picked?
Actually, after spending time with them today, I don't want anything bad to happen to any of the animals.
And what if these current animals don't find homes?
We're not looking to do what some shelters sadly had to do during the pandemic when they shut down. It was mass euthanasia. We are not doing that. I can tell you that for a fact. We are not doing that.
Lastly, how can community members help?
One, if you could make a donation, oh my gosh, please, that would help us out a ton. Talk to your commissioners. We are a voice for the voiceless. Oh my gosh, that's a huge way you can help. Volunteering, it doesn't give financial towards, but it does help. It truly does. So if you can come out and do some walking, if you can help us clean.
If you're looking for an animal right now, this is the best place to be.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Kyle says if they do end up closing, she will work hard to make sure all current animals find a home. Last week, Kyle presented the shelter's financial struggles to the Crawford County Commission at their Tuesday meeting. She plans to return this Friday for an update. The Mackey Grebe Memorial Park in Annapolis, Kansas has been a community favorite since 1980, but the playground equipment is now unsafe for children. Run by dedicated volunteers, the park is a hub for gatherings, including the annual 4th of July celebration. The volunteers created a fundraiser aiming to raise $30,000 to revitalize and preserve the current equipment while adding new pieces of equipment for park goers.
It really is a small community feeling too, like everybody knows everybody, and so I just think it's very important that we keep this park alive, and keep something that attracts people here too, because it's a very good community to be a part of.
As of today, the community has raised close to $14,000. Let's take it out over now to Chris Warner for a look at today's forecast.
Yeah, we've got those mostly cloudy skies, which we said was going to happen, and that's exactly what we're seeing from downtown Pittsburgh. Skywatch Storm Tracker, the light showers, Future Track this time, as compared to yesterday, almost has it spot on. We've got a few light showers into Greenwood County. We've got scattered showers, few rumbles of thunder along the I-35 corridor, and those will fill in. And if you look here just in the last half hour or so, we're getting that fill in. Now, like I said, no severe weather is expected, but it's just Future Track playing out as it was expected, with showers, thunderstorms progressively getting closer. Still expected around 1 o'clock or so to really start moving into the area. Started yesterday a few degrees below normal, for our high as well. Temperatures today, though, much closer to normal, on their way. We've already got the mid-upper 70s. We're seeing some low 80s out there, and we're still cruising for highs in the mid to upper 80s. We'll be near 80 by 7, so still going with scattered storms, possibly through as late as maybe 10, and then they'll start dwindling down and winding down as we go late evening and overnight, back down to low 70s by 11. We'll talk more about our thunderstorm chances today, and then the extreme, well, not extreme, but the heat that's on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. We'll see you soon. Well, the Missouri House passes a bill to redraw congressional districts, sending the measure to the Senate for debate. Supporters say the Republican-led effort is meant to ensure Missouri's voice in Washington reflects the state's conservative majority. If passed, the bill would divide Missouri's 5th congressional district into 3 seats, each already represented by Republicans.
I think that it would be better if we had more Republicans in Washington, D.C., and if Mike Johnson was Speaker of the House versus Hakeem Jeffries or Nancy Pelosi. And I think the vast majority of Missourians, it's clear, would prefer a House with Republican leadership when you consider the fact that Republicans have every statewide office in Missouri, over 90% of the county offices. The state legislature has a supermajority virtually of Republicans. And so I think those are Missouri values, and that's what Missourians generally would like to see represented in Congress.
The bill now heads to the Senate for debate. If passed, it will move to the governor's desk for final approval. And currently, mortgage rates are on a slight decrease over the country. But what does this mean for those looking for a new home? Well, with the economy in continual flux, it bears the question, is now the right time to buy a home? The Federal Reserve is set to meet in mid-September about interest rates. The current rate is 4.25%. Mortgages are not directly influenced by the federal interest rate. Instead, they're affected by the 10-year Treasury yield. Arvis Bank says mortgages change ahead of the federal rate.
We like to say that mortgage rates kind of lead the pack. So we've actually already seen mortgage rates trend down a little bit over the past few weeks. And when the Feds meet next Wednesday, those rates are, that's your prime rate that they're looking to lower. And prime is tied to more short-term money.
Like Sweet says, mortgage rates are already dropping before the Fed meets next week. And that solar tax credit that can save you thousands with installing a new solar system is going away at the end of the year. Now, while it can save on your power bill, if you can afford the hefty investment, a system usually costs about $30,000, but the tax credit could knock it down to $20,000. Here's the deal though, no leasing, you must buy. Check with your city and HOA to see if they have any specific requirements and make sure the mounting system is compatible with your roof. Like the solar tax credit, the energy efficient home improvement credit also expires on December 31st. Well, Joplin officials want your help in naming some new trails at the city's bike park in Dora. City officials are inviting the public to name the trails at the Momentum Bike Park located within the Dover Outdoor Recreation Area. Now, when the park opens, it will be the largest municipal facility of its kind in the state of Missouri. It'll feature more than 132,000 square feet of formal bike park elements alongside 10 miles of purpose-built mountain bike trails. If you're interested in submitting names for any of the trails, we provided a link to the survey on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. The survey does close next Wednesday on the 17th. And coming up, President Trump criticizes Israel's latest escalation in the Middle East as Israel attacks Hamas in Qatar. And later, we're making a fruity frozen yogurt bites in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Israel is facing growing backlash over its controversial missile strike on Doha, with Qatari officials vowing to hold Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responsible for breaking international law with yesterday's attack. CBS's Imtiaz Tayyab reports from Qatar's capital city.
I would tell you this, I was very unhappy about it, very unhappy about every aspect, and we got to get the hostages back. But I was very unhappy about the way that went down.
The series of Israeli airstrikes on this building in Doha's quiet embassy district sent shockwaves through the Qatari capital. Any hopes President Trump had of Hamas, whose political leaders had gathered here apparently to discuss his latest proposal to end the violence in Gaza and free the remaining hostages, now seem up in smoke. It also seems to have deeply rattled the Trump administration, who are incredibly close allies with Qatar, who not only host the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East, but are also gifting the president a plane to be used as the next Air Force One. Qatar's prime minister, meanwhile, has called the Israeli strike an act of, quote, state terrorism, saying, does the world need a clearer message than this? Who is closing the door to peace? Qatari leaders also say they were only contacted by U.S. officials about the Israeli strike 10 minutes after it happened. Dubbed Summit of Fire by Israeli leaders, The attack appears to have derailed the talks which Qatar had been hosting. The tiny Gulf kingdom is one of the few direct channels between the U.S., Israel, and Hamas, and has hosted countless rounds of negotiations to end the war in Gaza and free the remaining hostages.
And Qatar has a long history of being considered neutral territory for complicated diplomatic negotiations, including hosting talks between the Afghan Taliban and the previous Trump administration. And given the White House was alerted in advance of the Doha attack by Israel, Qatari leaders here are asking why they weren't informed ahead of time. Imtiaz Taib, CBS News, Doha, Qatar.
And still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
An afternoon treat that's so good, you'll be counting down the seconds to snack time.
And we've got shower and thunderstorm chances increasing into the afternoon. We'll have a look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon on what has become a mostly cloudy day, which is exactly what we were expecting, ahead of some scattered shower and thunderstorm chances. Also exactly what we were expecting. How do we know it's mostly cloudy? Well, that's one way. We don't really have any windows here in the studio, but we have cameras like the one in downtown Pittsburgh where you can see those mostly cloudy skies, and there they are, see? They were right behind me, but now they're even bigger. You can tell for sure it's mostly cloudy, but you can also see a little bit of sunlight sneaking in. Take a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker. Again, yesterday, Future Track, we talked about it, had a hard time picking up on some of those storms and what they were going to do. This morning, it's almost playing out exactly as Future Track laid it out. So we got some scattered showers now working into parts of Greenwood County, and we've got some showers and some additional thunderstorms developing right along the I-35 corridor, almost right on schedule here. So these will continue to develop, and you can see they're stretching down almost to Oklahoma City, and the whole rotation with that low pressure is going to push them off to the east-northeast, and we'll get those scattered showers and storms to continue in the area as we head into the afternoon. Now again, nothing severe is expected, and not everybody is going to see rain today, but we'll have showers and again a few rumbles of thunder continuing through the afternoon and potentially into the late evening hours. But again, what you're seeing here at 5 a.m. is the one part of the future track that is a computer hallucination. We're not really looking at any rain chances come tomorrow morning, and so we should dry out. Our Thursday is when we start warming up because high pressure takes control across the region, and it will remain in control through the upcoming weekend and the start of the next work week. And while high pressure is good in the sense it brings dry weather and calm weather, the problem in this case is it's also bringing very warm weather as well. So Thursday we are dry, Friday partly cloudy skies, and that's really going to be about it. Because it's just going to be straight up warm out there. Like I said, it's going to be hot. So what are we going through today? Again, some scattered shower storms, otherwise mostly cloudy skies. Still looking at highs for most of us right around the mid to upper 80s. Remember, our average high is 85. So we're looking to be upwards of maybe 2 or 3 degrees warmer than that. Farther south, you might be maybe 4 degrees warmer than that. While the south winds at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, once storms clear out late this evening, still sticking up, maybe a lingering shower through 2 a.m., but I think the bulk of the activity is going to be done still right around midnight, maybe a little before. Should be partly cloudy overnight, upper 60s tonight, and we'll have calm winds as we proceed through the overnight hours tomorrow. Yeah, we start heating up. Upper 80s. A few more low 90s out there. Still partly cloudy skies. South winds continuing at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And like I mentioned, tomorrow is what kicks off our big warm streak, our big hot streak, really. Temperatures will continue to climb as we head into the upcoming weekend. We start going low to mid 90s out there. And of course, as our highs increase, our lows will increase accordingly, going into the low to mid 70s, so putting us well above average across the region. Maybe not to record levels, but still much warmer than it should be. We are dry, and that pattern continues into the start of the next work week before we see the possibility, at least, of another system by next Thursday that should bring some isolated pop-up storm chances for us, but it should also knock our temperatures back down to about average. So it's not a very, long hot streak, but it's just enough that, want to make sure you stay hydrated. You got any projects this weekend?
Yeah, we're definitely going to feel it.
Especially with everything we've had. These temperatures have been so nice here lately that, it's going to feel hotter than what it probably is.
Right, Chris, thanks. Well, stick around. We're making fruity frozen yogurt bites in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Well, today's Mr. Food recipe is absolutely perfect to start your day or to make for when the kids come back from school, whether they're getting ready to do their homework or simply watching some TV. It's a great better for you snack. Howard is making fruity frozen yogurt bites in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
As our week-long celebration of back to school continues, today we're focusing on an after-school snack that's not only fun and tasty, but one that's good for us. And let me tell you, these are good whether you're doing homework, heading to the ballpark, or simply watching TV. The first thing we do is line 24 mini muffin cups with paper liners. This will make these really easy to serve. Now we put some granola in a food processor along with a bit of melted butter. After pulsing this, we place a spoonful of it in the bottom of each liner and press it down firmly with our fingertips so it makes a crust. On top of that goes a spoonful of yogurt. As for the yogurt, that can be vanilla or really whatever kind you like. Next, we'll top these with some fresh fruit and into the freezer they go. Then, when you're craving a snack, simply grab one or two for a treat that's mom approved. You see, when you have a good-for-you snack rather than junk food, everyone's happier. To get the recipe for what we call fruity frozen yogurt bites, simply visit our website. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fun and fruity way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, as always, you can find the recipe for this wonderful back-to-school snack along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. All you have to do is head on over to our website. Of course, that's KOAMNewsNow.com. Now let's take a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, again, some scattered storms out there for some of us today. Otherwise, about mid-80s, mostly cloudy. Temperatures heating up as the high pressure takes control of our weather for the next several days. Low to mid-90s out there. Maybe closer to normal, if not back to normal, by next weekend.
Back to normal. That'll really be nice.
It certainly will.
Well, coming up tonight at 5, for the first time ever, obesity has overtaken underweight as the most common form of malnutrition among school-aged children worldwide. We take a look at a new report that reveals 1 in 10 children are living with obesity. Plus, McDonald County is accepting bids on a roof replacement for the courthouse, how this will impact taxpayers. And we get an inside look at what goes into Joplin's annual Walk to End Alzheimer's. You can join us for those stories and more on KOAM News at 5. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.